You know Simba, you might even know Kiara, but what about Ahadi, or Uru, or Kion, Simba's lesser-known son? And where exactly does Scar fit into all of this? And what about Kovu? Is he Scar's son, or something else entirely? Today, we're diving deep into the tangled web of the Lion King's royal bloodline. From the very first king mentioned in the extended lore to the current heirs of Pride Rock, this is the complete, chronological explanation of the Lion King family tree. And trust me, it's more complicated than it looks. Grab your mane, because this journey starts generations before Simba ever roared. Let's begin at the very roots of the Pridelands. While they never appeared in the original films, the names Ahadi and Uru come from the 1994 book, A Tale of Two Brothers, part of The Lion King, 6 New Adventures. These books are considered semi-canon, officially licensed by Disney, but not always consistent with the films. Ahadi was said to be king before Mufasa, with Uru as his queen. They had 2 sons, Mufasa, the noble heir, and Taka, the younger brother who would later be known as Scar. According to the book, Taka felt overshadowed by Mufasa and longed for recognition. In a tragic attempt to embarrass his brother, Taka ends up injured by a buffalo. From that day on, he calls himself Scar, a name that reflects both the physical wound and his growing resentment. But Disney introduced a new version of events in the 2024 film Mufasa, the Lion King. In this updated canon, Mufasa isn't born royal. He's an orphan who rises through hardship and is mentored by a lion named Mahaba. Scar, still referred to as Taka, is part of this same pride, though now more of an adoptive brother than a biological one. So which version is true? It depends on your view. Many fans still embrace the Ahadi and Uru version as meaningful backstory, but with the 2024 film, Disney seems to be leaning into a different legacy, one shaped by destiny, not blood. Either way, Mufasa and Scar's relationship lies at the heart of the Lion King's royal lineage, one marked by pride, power, and a painful divide that echoes through generations. But from that fractured brotherhood came the next ruler, a lion born to lead and destined to change everything, Mufasa's son, Simba. As we step into more familiar territory, we meet the Mufasa we all know, the regal king introduced at the beginning of the original 1994 film. Mufasa rules with strength, dignity, and a deep sense of duty. Alongside his queen, Sarabi, he has one son, Simba. Simba is born into a peaceful era, destined to inherit the throne, but his life is turned upside down by Scar, who, consumed by jealousy and ambition, orchestrates Mufasa's death and drives Simba into exile. Here's where confusion often creeps in. Did Scar ever have children of his own? Officially, Disney says no. There's no confirmed biological link between Scar and any of the lions we meet later in the franchise. And yet, fans have theories. In The Lion King 2, Nuka angrily refers to Scar as my father. Vitani and Kovu are also heavily associated with Scar's legacy. But if we go by the canon, Scar had no cubs of his own. Kovu, the lion many assumed to be Scar's son, was actually chosen by Scar to be his successor, not because of blood, but because of potential. Zira, Kovu's fiercely loyal mother, raised him to follow in Scar's paw prints. She's a devout follower of Scar, but never confirmed as his mate. So, in this generation, the story is about legacy. Mufasa passes the crown to Simba. Scar dies without an heir, but his influence, that lives on. And that influence is important, because even without children of his own, Scar shaped the political divide that would persist into Simba's reign. His rise and fall created a rift, one that would later manifest in the Outlanders and the Pridelanders. His choices, even without a bloodline, left scars on the family tree itself. But while Scar's reign ended in ashes, a new era began, one led by a cub who had to grow into a king. Simba returns to the Pridelands, defeats Scar, and takes his rightful place as king. He marries Nala, his childhood friend turned queen, and together they begin the next chapter of the royal lineage. Their firstborn is Kiara, introduced in The Lion King 2, Simba's pride. She's strong-willed, adventurous, and determined to forge her own path, even if that means challenging her father's expectations. But she isn't their only cub. In the Disney Junior series, The Lion Guard, Simba and Nala also have a son, Kion. He's Kiara's younger brother, and he's gifted with a powerful ability known as the Roar of the Elders, a mystical force passed down to the leaders of the Lion Guard. Kion's job is to protect the Pridelands, leading a team of unlikely heroes to maintain balance and order. But eventually, he leaves to find healing at the Tree of Life, and during his absence, Vitani, yes, Zira's daughter, takes over the Lion Guard in his place. The timelines between Simba's Pride and the Lion Guard aren't perfectly aligned, and some fans have struggled to piece them together, but most agree that Kion's journey happens somewhere between the major events of Kiara's story. While she prepares to rule, Kion is off discovering who he truly is. Interestingly, Kion's journey takes him far beyond the known lands. He learns about other lion traditions, new healing methods, and even romance, forming a bond with Rani, the queen of the Tree of Life. If Kion and Rani were to have cubs of their own, it would mean that a branch of the royal tree continues in a completely different territory. It raises the question, what if there are now two royal bloodlines descended from Simba? This part of the tree isn't just about Simba's legacy, it's about how far that legacy can reach. But not everyone accepted Simba's rule, and in the shadows of the Pridelands, a darker legacy was waiting to strike. Let's now step outside the Pridelands and into the harsh, barren territory of the Outlands, where Zira rules with fear, loyalty, and vengeance. Zira is introduced as the main villain of The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. She's a devout follower of Scar, determined to raise her children with the same ruthless ideology. To her, Simba is a usurper, and her mission is to restore Scar's legacy by any means necessary. Zira has 3 cubs, Nuka, Vitani, and Kovu. Nuka, the oldest, is jealous and unstable, constantly trying to win his mother's favor. Vitani is fierce, intelligent, and eventually finds a new purpose. But Kovu is special. He was chosen by Scar himself, not because of blood, but because of promise. Scar saw something in him, potential, strength, the ability to lead. Zira raises Kovu with one goal, to infiltrate the Pridelands, earn Kiara's trust, and bring Simba's kingdom to its knees. But as fate would have it, Kovu and Kiara fall in love, and through that love, Kovu begins to question everything he was taught. In the end, he chooses a new path, one of unity, not division. Vitani also turns away from Zira's legacy. In the Lion Guard, she leads the guard with honor, protecting the very land her mother tried to destroy. Zira, consumed by vengeance, ultimately perishes, but her children find redemption. The line between outcast and noble begins to blur. It's also worth noting that Vitani's role as leader of the Lion Guard creates an unusual crossover in the family tree. While she isn't part of the royal bloodline by birth, her leadership position and alliance with Simba's family places her in a powerful and symbolic branch of the legacy, one that further blends the lines between enemies and kin. And in the end, love found a way to bring the two worlds together. At the end of The Lion King 2, we witness a powerful moment. Kiara and Kovu, standing side by side, uniting their two worlds, the daughter of Simba, the chosen heir of Scar. Together, they bring peace to the Pridelands. While Disney hasn't officially shown us their children, the implication is clear. They are the future, the merging of two legacies, once divided by hatred, now bound by love. It's a hopeful ending, but for many fans, it's just the beginning of a new chapter. Will we one day see Kion return to help raise the next generation? Will the cubs of Kiara and Kovu continue the legacy of peace? Could Disney finally give us a new series exploring their reign? And what about the cubs of Kion and Rani? Should they exist? Could there be future conflict between two royal lineages? One that rules the Pridelands, and one that protects the Tree of Life? The possibilities are endless, and fans continue to imagine what comes next in this growing family tree. Only time will tell, but for now we know that the bloodlines of Mufasa and Scar, once torn apart, are finally on the path to healing. So there you have it, the complete family tree of The Lion King. From the ancient rule of Ahadi and Uru, to the complex bond between Mufasa and Scar, to Simba's rise, Kion's journey, and the redemption of Zira's children. But before we go, let's walk through the tree one more time, just to make sure it's all clear. It begins with Ahadi and Uru, the earliest rulers from extended lore, who had two sons, Mufasa and Taka, later known as Scar. Mufasa marries Sarabi, and they have Simba, who eventually becomes king after Mufasa's death. Simba marries Nala, and they have two cubs, Kiara, the future queen, and Kion, the leader of the Lion Guard. Meanwhile, Scar has no confirmed biological heirs, but his follower Zira, raises Nuka, Vitani, and Kovu in his name. Kovu was chosen by Scar as a successor, not by blood. Kovu eventually falls in love with Kiara, uniting the two rival legacies. Vitani leads the new Lion Guard. Kion departs to lead a new life with Rani, Queen of the Tree of Life. So the tree splits in two, one line in the Pridelands, and another possibly continuing in the distant lands beyond. It's a story of power, betrayal, love, and legacy. A cycle of hurt and healing that echoes across generations. Which part of the royal family tree surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the world of the Lion King. Until next time, remember, the past can hurt, but the future, that's yours to shape.